Hello, and thanks for tuning in for another edition of QB1 with talented quarterback expert Crissy Froyd, who is here to talk about Pittsburgh signal caller Kedon Slovis. Crissy, how does Slovis come in and rise to the occasion after the departure of Kenny Pickett, who went in the first round of the draft to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I think there's a certain expectation that's been set. I mean, you go into a school where there was only one first round quarterback in this year's draft, and that was Kenny Pickett. And so I think that there's kind of this expectation that, well, we had this quarterback that was so good, that had this meteoric Joe Burrow-like rise. It's kind of hard to come in whenever you're trying to kind of match that same level of play. But I don't think that Kedon Slovis' mentality is there. I think that he's more focused and more excited about the opportunity to change from more of an air raid type offense. It had some air raid concepts and it wasn't entirely an air raid offense, and then go more to a pro style offense. I think that that's something that's going to fit him better. I think that's something he's going to thrive in a lot better. And they did lose the top wideout and Pitt's supporting cast, so that's kind of unfortunate for him heading into the season. But I think that there's a lot of good things going for him there, and I think that he can really kind of turn a new leaf and reinvent himself here.
And you mentioned the change in offense and stuff like that. And give me specifics. How much of a disadvantage was he put at last year with USC?
Well, I think it's external factors. I don't think that people realize, I mean, just going back to the human aspect of this, which so many people seem to forget about with quarterbacks. The head coach gets fired after the loss to Stanford, which was the second game of the season. This is a team that's kind of in turmoil. Kedon Slovis told me there was a lot of insecurity around the building, and just that mindset, I think, was messing with them quite a bit. And I think that Kedon as a quarterback, I think that his skill set and where he is, the development that he needs is going to be more geared toward a pro style offense as opposed to an air raid type of offense. So I think that he's a quarterback that maybe just didn't really fit that mold as well. And he's a quarterback that still needs to develop some. So I think that going over to a different style of offense could potentially help him.
Where does Slovis need to get better as a quarterback heading into this season, maybe tactically or mentally? Just where does he need to get better?
I would say decision-making has kind of been something that's been interesting with him. I would say that sometimes the release time of the throws isn't always where it needed to be, especially with where USC was going with their offense. So I think that there are some things like that he needs to improve upon, but I do think that heading into a different scheme could prove advantageous than just having a different coaches around him, because there is kind of still the notion, some people kind of are asking, did Clay Helton have, I guess, just like a negative effect on Kedon Slovis?
You recently spoke with him also at the Manning Passing Academy. Like, what did you learn from those conversations with Kedon?
I think that you've kind of learned that he has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He told me that he was kind of under-recruited coming out of high school, and so to rise after that fantastic first season that he had of his college career, and then to kind of just fall off the radar after that elbow injury and then going in and dealing with that last year, I think that he's looking to prove that he is that same quarterback. And really, I mean, if you look at the numbers, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football from a clean pocket. So I think there's still a lot of really good things to work with, even though this is a quarterback that physically doesn't wow you and that still has some things to kind of develop on. But I do think that people don't need to discount just how horrible last season was in terms of external factors, and then just having to deal with turnover and change while you're already in the season.